We come to you tonight with a development that has sparked a surge of attention among currency enthusiasts, informed investors, and global policy watchers alike. An insider report with credible traces, though not yet officially confirmed, suggests compelling movement on the fronts of the Vietnamese Dong and the Iraqi Dinar. The implications could be monumental. What you are about to hear bears that urgent weight. We emphasize again, this is based on real, albeit informal, insight. Nothing here is certified by any sovereign government or global central bank, and circumstances may alter. We are relaying what the sources describe, and it is essential that every viewer understands the tentative nature of the material. That said, here is what the insider update indicates, framed in an unmistakably serious, breaking news tone. Our insider expresses confidence that strategic dialogues between international financial institutions and two key central banks, the State Bank of Vietnam and the Central Bank of Iraq, have entered a phase of discrete coordination. They say preliminary framework agreements have been sketched, signaling a potential revaluation of the Vietnamese Dong and the Iraqi Dinar. If such measures come to fruition, they would follow years of speculation and vested anticipation. The insider notes that these conversations, which reportedly involve structured stimuli for export-driven sectors and debt servicing accommodations, have reached a critical tipping point. These negotiations are said to extend beyond a typical rate tweak discussion, venturing into design elements of a possible managed revaluation. The insider stresses that no final commitment has been made, but the architecture of such a maneuver is actively being shaped. Specifically with the Vietnamese Dong, the report outlines that policymakers are exploring a carefully calibrated appreciation framework. This would carefully balance inflation control, foreign capital influx, and manufacturing competitiveness. Those sectors have carried the Vietnamese economy for years: garments, electronics, consumer goods, and a sudden shift in FX value would demand precise planning. According to the insider, the objective is to gradually shift toward a more representative exchange rate, reducing pressure on exporters while inviting long-term foreign direct investment. The insider claims that internal modeling shows that a marginal appreciation of the Dong, even by a few percentage points, could bolster investor confidence without destabilizing the broader economy. This would be paired with assurances to key exporters that they may continue benefiting from soft credit programs during the transition. It is far from official, but an unmistakable marker of momentum in policy circles. In parallel, the update on the Iraqi dinar suggests that discussions are even further along. The Central Bank of Iraq has been under mounting pressure to stabilize its currency in the face of renewed oil revenue and fiscal rebalancing. The insider reports that high-level policymakers, possibly including members of Iraq's finance ministry and select international partners, have signaled intent to institute a tiered revaluation mechanism, linking the dinar's valuation directly to sustained oil export performance. This measure, if enacted, would be lauded as a historic shift away from long-standing pegs and toward a more dynamic, market-reflective stance. The insider underscores that the plan envisions a phased approach, an initial modest revaluation to anchor expectations, followed by contingent, performance-based adjustments. Such a scheme could restore chronological interest and institutional trust long missing in forex circles. If implemented, it would mark a profound departure from the conservative monetary framework that has governed Iraq for decades. What has investors and hopeful speculators leaning in is the reported timeline. The source outlines that preliminary policy consensus could crystallize within the coming weeks, with supporting infrastructure, such as central bank buy-side readiness and communication protocols, being prepared for broader deployment. The reckoning point, according to the insider, hinges on two critical data releases: Vietnam's next export volumes digest and Iraq's upcoming oil auction results. If those land favorably, both countries might proceed from planning to execution. In volume terms and fiscal impact, both sets of data are poised to deliver final confirmation. Strong export figures may embolden Vietnamese authorities, and robust oil auctions could trigger the Iraqi push. Now, we underscore again that caution remains indispensable. No formal announcements have been made. At the time of this report, both central banks are conducting internal reviews, and any public confirmation will demand precision, regulatory alignment, and international coordination, particularly with finance ministries, IMF protocol, and, in Iraq's case, the oil ministry. Central banks universally prioritize stability. Fine-tuning exchange rates is complex. Even well-structured revaluations risk unintended capital flight or market turbulence if not impeccably managed. Let's consider the broader implications should this tentative maneuver move forward. An appreciation of the Vietnamese dong would reinforce Vietnam's integration into global trade as a rising star, supporting higher value manufacturing and possibly nurturing more local investment. An adjusted dinar, tied to oil performance, would enhance fiscal discipline and reduce currency overshooting. Investors, particularly in diaspora communities or regions where these currencies are held as long-term speculative wings, would undoubtedly take note. Secondary markets could see elevated activity. However, mainstream forex may remain unusually indigent prior to formal communication, even as whispers grow louder. From a risk perspective, the window for speculative positioning opens with caveats. Premature capital flow can provoke overheating or distort pricing. Regulatory agents everywhere are watching. If the Indonesian rupiah revaluation of the past serves as any comparative foil, timing and communication doctrine is everything. Too swift, and your currency balloons artificially. Too slow, and momentum fizzles. Our insider emphasizes that both Vietnam and Iraq are aware of the optics. They intend to control narrative, coordinate with banking sectors, and deploy public reassurance only once momentum is irreversible. In the research world, analysts are watching for subtle clues. State Bank of Vietnam statements during trading days, background briefings by Vietnam's finance ministry, cabinet session minutes, and comments from central banking proxies. In Iraq, signals may emerge in daily oil ministry releases, central bank press notices, and micro-adjustments on the auction floor. When those appear, the rapidity of market response will test the robustness of the revaluation plan. Should central bank readiness prove weak, markets will punish. But if sequencing is impeccable, appreciation can elevate economic stability. Investors already alerted to the rumor mill must now weigh patience against positioning. The insider reiterates, this is not a rumor without foundation. It is an active framework under highly confidential development. Still, uncertainty is unavoidable. Capital flows must remain proportional, disciplined, and informed by evolving official signals. Surging ahead without calibration invites setbacks. On the horizon, we may soon see coordinated central bank announcements, joint communiques, policy papers, or press briefings that reference managed exchange rate flexibility, strengthened export-linked currency frameworks, or market-reflective valuation corridors. Such language, while technical, would break the seal on speculation and usher in a new era for the dong and the dinar. In the final analysis, this update demands attention, not assumption. It underscores a rare moment when two historically low-floating currencies potentially shift toward more representative valuations. It rings echoes of past emerging market revaluation cycles, where transparency, fiscal alignment, and policy scaffolding align in a fleeting but powerful window. We will remain vigilant. As always, we urge viewers to track official channels. Any formal declaration, policy white paper, or coordinated statement by the State Bank of Vietnam or the Central Bank of Iraq would mark a transition from rumor to reality. Until then, this stands as an insider update you can't miss. Urgent, credible, and evolving. Rely on official sources, practice disciplined analysis, and monitor commercial channels for emergent signals. The landscape is changing, and those who are prepared may find themselves well-positioned. Now we turn our attention to immediate viewer inquiries. No action is recommended in the absence of definitive public confirmation. Yet, for those already holding positions, maintain alert status, limit exposure, and adhere to stop-loss or risk thresholds. Traders who await clarity have a window to observe, and that window may very well narrow. Let that sink in. Vietnam and Iraq, long subject to speculation, could be approaching an inflection point. Should central bankers act, and do so cohesively, discreetly, and convincingly, the impact could ripple across regional markets, diaspora investment flows, and even remittance corridors. Exhibit discipline, stay informed, and prepare mentally for what could be one of the most intriguing currency episodes of this cycle. We wrap up with this declaration. This script reflects the best understanding derived from a confidential insider source. It is serious, high stakes, and unfolding. It is not based on unsubstantiated rumor, but on informed awareness. Yet until policy is published, until currencies are repriced, it remains a projection. For now, the story is in motion. We will monitor, analyze, and update you as soon as the official door opens.